This is the chapter 3 reading from the book, The Meta and Physics of Jesus Christ. This chapter is chapter 3, and it is titled Balance, one of the real keys to success. We are going to touch on this very important reality in brief. It is said that one can be so spiritually minded that they can be of no earthly good. I know this is a true and factual statement because I lived in that place for several years. Let me tell you that this is not a place of balance. It may be a wonderful place and a place for shaman and prophets of old, but it is tough when you live in 20th century America. Thankfully, I was able to sort it out for the 21st century. Earth is a place of struggle, a place of wrestling with the physical world to which we all belong, a place of disharmony with physical laws because of the wrestling with total spiritual laws. And it is therefore a place of not fully understanding the laws and physics of Jesus Christ. We are four-component energy beings, but we live inside the confines of a natural body. This is something that is very important to come to grips with. Far too often, people see either one side or the other. Most see only the physical. So to say that one could be so spiritually minded to be of no earthly good would also be true in the reverse role. That is, that you can be so earthly minded that you are of no spiritual good. Neither of these thought processes makes for a truly balanced life. We cannot live in this world without generating enough money to feed and clothe ourselves and pay our bills. Neither could Jesus Christ when he came down here to hand us the keys. This whole idea that we could just be glorified animals is simply not true. We are far more than that, and our needs are far more complicated than that. In order to achieve peace and pursue happiness, we must have balance. And what every human has ever wanted is happiness. I know that's completely a relative term, but it is nonetheless true. Let me also tell you that when the Holy Spirit comes in and whacks you over the head with a piece and higher frequency of what love is, you will begin to achieve balance. This is something you really need to see, because the further out of balance you are, the longer it takes to come back to that state of balance. If you had already fully understood the physics and laws of the universe, and then you literally chose to live a life out of balance, that is one thing. That falls under the category of wielding your free will. But for most of us that have lived on this earth throughout time, this is simply not the case. The lack of balanced lives is a product of simply not understanding the laws of the way, and therefore creating circumstances that are just simply not in our own best interest. In essence, we do these things, or have done these things, out of ignorance and naivety. There are two forces in play here on this planet, and as far as humans go, they have always been in play. One side does all it can to keep the humans ignorant and naive. The other side does all it can to bring truth and enlightenment so humans have a chance to chase their happiness. Now, you can have the IQ of 150 and still be ignorant. Raw intelligence does not come into play on this one, folks. This is about balance. You can also be dumb as a cucumber and live a very balanced life. This is not about how smart you are. This is about how you harness your thoughts. You have to see here that, like the law of free will, there is another law that is just as prominent in the big picture. This is the law of cause and effect. Just as we talked about particles and atoms in the last chapter, the things that were a part of the theories of Albert Einstein, we are now going to talk about gravity and the theories of Sir Isaac Newton. These two men were actually quite interesting beings in their approach to life. Albert Einstein really only wanted one thing, and that was to know the thoughts of God. Please understand, he was not talking in terms of religion when he made this clear. He was talking in terms of universal life force. And Newton has been quoted as saying that one should begin every day by reading from the Holy Scriptures. That's to say, the Bible. Both men actually sought God, not in the religion fashion, but in the substance and reality fashion. But neither were trapped and boxed in by some of the current religious views of the day and time. It is because of these men and their views that I boldly state that what they theorized and changed the world evermore with were not theories at all. Instead, they were serious revelations given to the world through them by the Holy Spirit. In essence, what was given to them was just bits and pieces of the law and physics of Jesus Christ in detailed mathematical formulas, because that's how they thought. I think the same thing about Nikola Tesla. There are others as well I think this about. God is not truly confined to religion. Religion, especially religion today, is part of the two forces at play. And this is incredibly important to know and really understand. Now, back to the law of cause and effect. Newton gave us the theory of gravity. As part of the theory of gravity, there was something called the theory of inertia. The theory of inertia is, in fact, the mathematical side of the reality of cause and effect. This law was stated very simply for the people of 2,000 years ago through a little parable given to them by the Christ. This is the law. And here it is in text fashion. Of whatsoever you sow, that shall you also reap. That's a quote from the Christ. Do you also understand that there is a huge mathematical formula backing this up, along with other huge mathematical formulas that back up all the laws of physics contained within the creation? Truly understanding this law is also understanding balance. Furthermore, out of this law came something we term as the golden rule. This is simply put, and I quote the Christ here, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is not the law, it is the rule that applies to the law. It is the most simplistic explanation of the complexities of the law that have ever been handed to the human race. Do you think that I could understand even a minute piece of Newtonian physics in their mathematical form? Not without years of study, I couldn't. Not to mention the mathematics of atomic physics or astrophysics or quantum mechanics. Now, even though I cannot today grasp them in their mathematical form, I can still grasp them in some form, and so can you. And so can you. One more time, and so can you. The reason I can grasp them in some form is because they are truth. They are the way of things. They are life. The laws and the flowing of the way apply to all creatures, great and small, and even the blades of the grass. These laws and these physics transcend from the very top to the very bottom, from the highest heights of the heavens into the deepest depths of the places of darkness. These laws are the meta. They are the way. From this understanding of the way of things, we can see clearly the importance of balance. You have a very serious need, whether you realize it or not, for a balanced life. Your thoughts, focused through your will, empowered by the actual substance of your faith, affect all that you do and all that you are. If your actions or the causes, as in cause and effect, are out of whack with the results you want to get, then your results or your effects, as in cause and effects, will be out of whack too. This is why so many people's lives are out of balance. They cannot see the cause part of their lives. They can only experience the effect part of their lives because of this illusion that they have of what life really is. They are blinded to the cause. They are blinded by the great illusion. We talked about this in the part on the Tower of Babel. But we live in a free will zone, and we have to seek out the truth of things in this zone. In essence, we are all babbling idiots. That is, of course, until we begin to start to see through the illusion. Seeing through the illusion is enlightenment. The more enlightenment you gain, the more you begin to see the physics and meta of Jesus Christ. It does not even matter if you know it is Jesus Christ. It simply is what it is. This in turn allows you to realize about cause and effect, and then to choose through your educated knowledge or your deep inner knowing, through your enlightened mindsets, to live with balance in the cause part of life. The whole universe is balanced, and it revolves within the essence and purity of the law of cause and effect. Now, because we have free will, it is not required for us to follow this. However, the law itself is nevertheless in full action. Do you see? So a balanced life is a very essential thing if you want balanced effects. Do you have balance in love, in money, in charity, in faith, in hope, in freedom, in caring for others, in material possessions, in spiritual depth, and in all other things and all other aspects of your life? It is not very likely that you do, because we are all still students of life, students of what creator/creation is. As well, there is also the other thing that applies to each of us here. We do not live on this planet by ourselves. We have to deal with others on a daily basis, and all of those others also have free will. It's an interesting place, isn't it? This means that you have to constantly deal with others' factors to create balance in your life. Isn't the real discovery of life fun? Now, say, "Thank you, Holy Spirit, for the enlightenment." This is the end of chapter 3.